So good afternoon, all, and I want to thank you for tuning in to, actually, this is the last day of the month and the last day of Women's History Month. I'm excited about Women's History Month because I celebrate it each and every day, actually. During this month, we've celebrated the social, economic, cultural, and political achievements of women around the world. We also pledge to continue to raise awareness against bias and strive for equality everywhere. This month, we heard from a number of amazing women of diverse cultural backgrounds from across the clerk's office, listening to their stories, achievements, and what has made them who they are today. The final speaker for this month, I was kind of taken aback when I actually talked to her about her story. And we all have stories, I might add, but Angela Wright Madison is our director of vital records for the Cook County Clerk's Office. She grew up on Chicago's South Side in the Englewood community, and she attended Englewood High School, where she graduated valedictorian in 1984. She received a full academic National Merit Scholarship from Howard University and graduated cum laude from the Howard University School of Business and Public Administration with a bachelor's of business administration and accounting. Prior to her time at the clerk's office, she was able to put together a diverse career path that covers public accounting, internal audit, international finance, software systems implementation administration, real estate, personal training, and government. She joined the Cook County Clerk's Office in 2014 as the supervisor of Vital Records Genealogy Department, the back office manager of operations in 2014, and later she was appointed to director in 2019. Today, Angela will discuss her background, how she got involved with healthcare and fitness, which led her to competing in not one, but two ABA amateur bodybuilding competitions, following her passion to work with women and men to lose weight through strength and conditioning training. Angela resides in Oak Park. She's the proud mother of two boys, Christopher, 25, who graduated from the University of Wisconsin-Madison with a degree in economics, and Angela, 17, a junior at OPRF. Angela, I'm astounded and I'm still in awe of your background. But look, tell us about Angela Wright Madison, and thank you for agreeing to do this. Take it away.
Thank you, Madam Clerk, for the wonderful introduction. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for joining me for today's Lunch and Learn. My name is Angela Wright Madison, and I'm a director of Vital Records for the Cook County Clerk's Office. I'm very excited to share with you my passion for health and fitness. Growing up on Chicago's South Side in the Englewood community during the 70s was fun and exciting. I was excited to be attending Englewood High School. I lived down the street from Englewood, so I was able to walk with no problem. I was one of those latchkey kids. My mother had this long chain around my neck with a key attached to it and tucked into my shirt so I can get to and from school. I also was very excited when I found out that I was going to Howard University on an academic scholarship. And I enjoyed being in Washington, D.C. and participating in all the activities that the city had while I was in D.C. So I hope everyone has their lunch and ready to take this journey with me, my health and fitness journey. I want you to put on your virtual glasses on and stroll down with me back down memory lane. You remember when we were in grammar school and we had so much fun playing. we couldn't wait to get outside during recess time. We played double dutch, tug of war, we played dodgeball, hopscotch, and we were just running around and just having such a wonderful time. And one of the big things about school that I enjoyed was Olympic Day. During Olympic Day, we would race, we would have relay races, we would play tug of war and jump rope, and we would actually get rewards for competing. We had first place, second place, and third place ribbons. And that was one of the things that really got me into wanting to compete and to be involved in sports and activities. I remember when my mother enrolled me in the Kennedy King College Enrichment Program. And during there, I learned how to swim and tap dance. And also she enrolled me in, there was a program at Loyola University called Upward Bound. And in that program, I learned how to play chess, and I took Latin. Now, don't ask me if I can speak any Latin today, but I can't. But with her putting me in those types of programs, it just propelled me further to want to get active and do more. So when I went to high school, because I had taken the swimming lessons, I decided, well, I'm going to join the swimming team and be a part of the swimming team. And I did the freestyle stroke, and I swam for 2 years. And then I joined the softball team, and I played softball for 4 years. I was on the bowling team for 4 years. And I also tried out for the volleyball team. I waited till my senior year for volleyball because we had some really dynamic volleyball players. And I had to wait till the best of the best graduated before I could join the team. But I was really, really good at bowling. And I remember when I tried out for the softball team, the coach put me in the outfield, and I did not have an arm. I couldn't throw halfway in from the outfield infield. So he said, well, you know what, let's try you as a pitcher. So I tried out as a pitcher. And of course, that worked perfect because of the fact that I was a bowler. So that went hand in hand, because during that time, we had the 12-inch ball, and we did the fast under pitch where you pitched and threw the ball underhand. And also, because of the relationship that me and all of the girls that played sports, we pretty much everybody played the same thing. We just went from one team to the next. We all, I couldn't play basketball. Let me just say that. I couldn't dribble and run down the court at the same time and shoot a basket. It just wasn't me. So what I did was, to be a part of the team, I asked the basketball coach, I said, and I remember her name, Miss Wayne, and it's funny because I can't remember what I ate probably 2 days ago. But anyway, so I went to Miss Wayne and I said, you know what, I know I can't play basketball, but I really would like to be a part of the team. Can I be the scorekeeper? Can I keep the stats? And I said, I'm really good at math. And so she said yes. And so because of that, I was able to travel with the team and go to the away games. And I was still a part of the group, and was able to participate with basketball, but not actually play. So then I shifted gears, and it was time to go away to Howard University. And while I was at Howard, I didn't just want to be a student. I like being involved in extracurricular activities. So while I was there, what I decided to do was go out for the bowling team, because that was the best event that I could play. And during that time, I knew that competition would be great, because when you go to college, most of the college students, they have scholarships, and they're like the cream of the crop. Well, I was good at bowling, but there was no bowling scholarships. And of course, I didn't need a scholarship because I had the academic scholarship. So I joined the bowling team, and we traveled and played teams up and down the East Coast. And we were part of the MEAC conference, which is the Mid-Eastern Atlantic Conference, because Howard at the time was in the Division III. So after graduating from college, then I started my career off in public accounting with Touche Ross at the time, which is now Deloitte & Touche. And I worked with them for about 3 years. And then I decided that I wanted to get some internal auditing experience, because I had the public accounting experience. So I left Tushawas and went to work for Baxter. And in Baxter, I worked in their internal audit department, in their international finance department. And while I was there, I did a lot of traveling. Traveled to countries like Montreal, Toronto, Spain, Paris, Dominican Republic, UK, Malta. And of course, during that time, during my travels, I noticed that I was starting to gain a little bit of weight. And we had a per diem. So the company would pay for our breakfast and our dinner, but we had to pay for our own lunch. And of course, we received the $25 per diem. So with $25 during that time in your early 20s, you weren't going to spend it on McDonald's and Burger King. No, we went to the really nice restaurants. And of course, the clients, the people that worked at the different offices that we worked at, they wanted to show their country off to us. So they took us to very, very nice restaurants and, started eating things like filet mignon and lobster tail, steak, you name it, all the rich foods that were, baked with a lot of cream and butter and sauce and those types of things. And what began to happen is my waistline began to grow. And I don't know if you guys remember back when there was a store called Casual Corners. And at Casual Corners, the clothes went up to a size 12. And I remember graduating from college at 132 pounds, and I could wear 7-8. Then slowly I went to a 9-10, then an 11-12. And then it got to a point where I couldn't fit any of the clothes at Casual Corners. So I had to go to Lane Bryant. And to me, that was like the big girl store. So I was like, oh, wow, I'm a big girl now. Now, keep in mind, I still love me, but I realized I was a big girl. And in 10 years, I couldn't believe it, though, that I had actually gained 100 pounds. I went from 132 pounds to my highest weight, which was 230 pounds in 1998, a year after I had my son. And I can't blame the weight gain on, having a child, because I had already started to advance in my weight prior to having him. So then I, decided I have to do something, because I noticed that when I would stand in front of the sink and try to do dishes, my back would hurt. I would literally have to lean over onto the sink and wash dishes. Going up the stairs, I would have to step up and down the steps, like one at a time, like you're teaching someone how to walk. And because my knees was bothering me, because I realized it was just too much weight. And it was taking a toll on my lifestyle. It was interfering with me being able to be active with my son when he was in school. And so I, with the stress of life and working and marriage and raising kids, my eating was just out of control. I realized that I thought I was in control. I thought I had things covered, but I guess I didn't. And I didn't realize it until one day I had my girlfriend, one of my best girlfriends from high school. She invited me and my friends to be a part of her 25th year wedding anniversary. And she wanted us to wear blue. Now, if anybody knows me, blue is not my color. My favorite color is orange. And so when I saw myself in this blue dress in this picture, I was just like flabbergasted. I couldn't believe I had no neck. My arm looked like somebody's thigh. I couldn't tell where my chest and my stomach where they were separated. Just looked like one body part. And you don't realize, you never really realize how you're gaining weight, because every day you just go with the flow. But when you see a picture of yourself, or you see yourself in the mirror sometimes, and you really take a good look at yourself, you realize how far you've let yourself go. So, I was very unhappy. And I just decided one day after I saw that picture that I wanted to change my life. I wanted to do something different. I wanted to get better. And so I had another friend who, she knew a trainer and she had her own home gym. And so I reached out to her and I called her and I said, hey, I need a trainer. I need somebody to help me. And I don't know, what to do. I've tried many things on my own. I tried Jenny Craig, buying all the Jenny Craig food. If you guys remember Jenny Craig, you spend way more money on that because you got to buy the Jenny Craig food and you got to buy regular food. And then I tried Weight Watchers, and Weight Watchers worked for a minute, but then after I stopped counting points, then I gained the weight back. And so I reached out to her and she told me to come over for an assessment, and I started working out with her. And I remember my first time working out, she told me to get on the Stairmaster. And I'm climbing up and down the Stairmaster. And she said, I'm only going to have you do 5 minutes. So I said, okay. And I'm very coachable, because I'm an athlete. I have an athletic background. And whenever my coaches said, you know what, I need you to do this, do that, I executed. No question asked, because I knew that they saw something in me more than I probably saw in myself. And they had the tools to pull it out of me. And so I told her, I said, okay, I'll do it. And I got on that treadmill. I got on that Stairmaster and I started crying. I could not do it. I just couldn't believe that I couldn't do it. And I was so out of shape. And, but I stuck with it and I got better. I ended up doing 10 minutes and then 20 minutes. And I'll say this, when you stick with something and you really put your heart and your mind into it, you'll be surprised what you can really accomplish. And so I would work out with her. I started out 2 days a week for 2 hours. So that was a total of 4 hours a week. And then after about a few months, we switched to 4 days a week and I worked an hour a day. And then after about 6 months into the workout, we changed it to working out 6 days a week for an hour. And I would be at her house and she had a gym. She turned her garage into a gym. And I would be there every morning, sometime at 5 in the morning or 6 in the morning before I got my kids up for school. And I just made it a point to be there because this was very important to me and my life. And so during that time, I decided to start journaling. So I kept a journal. So I don't know if any of you ladies had a diary when you was growing up, but I remember I had one and I used to hide it underneath my bed so my brother wouldn't sneak and look at it or my mom wouldn't be able to read anything in there. But having that background, I knew how important it was to journal things and to be able to put it on paper and get things off your chest. That was my way of keeping my sanity, by writing things down, by reflecting and talking about whatever was positive that day or negative that day. In my journal, I have other things in there. I have articles and clippings.
I was so big. People used to think I worked out because my weight went here.
Can we mute?
But I was fat.
And I was journaling and putting things in there to help me to stay motivated. Like I would put diet plans in there and workout routines and so forth. So next slide, please. Thank you. After working out with my trainer, I managed to lose 50 pounds. I went from 230 to 180 pounds and I was ecstatic. It took me a year to do it, but I stayed with it. And losing 50 pounds, if you can equate that to 1 pound a week, it's 52 weeks in a year and I lost 50 pounds. And I managed to keep most of it until the pandemic. But anyway, so I don't know if you guys ever watched The Biggest Loser. On The Biggest Loser, they, at the end of the season, would reward them with their weight loss by running a marathon. Now, I never had a desire to run a marathon, but I said, well, I'm going to try my luck at running. And I never ran track in school. So, I was 50 pounds lighter. I said, why not? So I signed up for my first race in Oak Park. And at the time, the race was called the Race That's Good for Life. And I ran my first race and it took me 33 minutes and 40 seconds to run 3.2 miles. And since then, I've run over 30 races since 2010. I've done 5Ks, 8Ks, 10Ks, 15Ks. I've done a half marathon, the Chicago Rock and Roll Half Marathon. And I'm not sure if anybody's familiar with the Ragnar Relay Race, but that's a race that you run with a total of 12 people. And I ran with 11 other ladies. You have 2 vans and you have 2 teams, and it's a relay team. And you run from Madison, Wisconsin, back to Chicago. The finish line was at the Monroe Street Beach. And we all had to take turns running over the course of 34 hours, day and night. And I would tell anybody, if you're a runner, you should really look into doing a Ragnar race, because it was such a rewarding experience. You do 3 legs, you run 3 different segments at 3 different times. And so after running, I decided that one of my biggest dreams and desires was to do bodybuilding. And the picture you see there was right before I got started. I used to do a lot of cardio and a lot of not as much weightlifting. So I tell anybody, if you do a lot of cardio, you'll be just a smaller baked potato than the baked potato you are now. So it's very important to start lifting weights if you want to actually change your figure and change your body composition. Weights is the key. It also, for those who are, getting older, it increases your bone density. So I don't know if you guys remember, back in the 70s, there used to be a show that come on ABC called ABC Wide World of Sports. And there used to be power lifters on there. And there was another show called the Battle of the Sexes. And they used to have these obstacle courses. Well, all that kind of stuff it just fascinated me. And I just really enjoyed watching and doing and wanted to do those types of things. So that's when I decided, okay, I found out there was this amateur bodybuilding show back in 2012, and I went to attend it. And boy, was I inspired. Just looking at the ladies' bodies and just watching them, I said, I'm going to do that. I want to do that. And so I reached out. Well, actually, I was introduced to some trainers through a friend who they had done some bodybuilding competitions, and he introduced me to them, and I joined their gym and I started working out. And that's when I started actually lifting weights in preparation for a bodybuilding competition. And so here I go, getting ready to train. And I'm not sure if you guys know Ernestine Shepherd, but she was one of the oldest competitive female bodybuilders declared by the Guinness Book of World Records in 2010. Well, I had the opportunity to meet her, and she was one of a person who motivated me as well. Just watching her, she started lifting weights in her 50s, and she still lifts to this day. She has her own personal gym, and she is, I believe, 85 or 87 years old now. And she was very inspirational. And when I got the opportunity to meet her, at that time I used to carry my journal everywhere, and you can see where she actually autographed my book. And I felt very pleased with that. I was very happy. And then there was another young lady who was very inspirational to me. Her name was Alicia Harris, and she was a professional bodybuilder. And she's since retired now, but she also was a fitness model. And that was something that I had aspired to do when I was bodybuilding. I believe it or not, I actually wanted to go pro. The competition that I was in was actually a pro meet. Had I got first place, I would have won. I would be a pro. I don't know if I'd be talking to you right now. But anyway, I met Alicia. She actually came to our gym where we were working out at, and she was giving us some tips on how to pose and stage presence and things like that. So she actually signed my book, my journal that I kept with me everywhere I went. And she had also sent me a card with 2 magazines that she was on the cover of, and she had autographed them for me. And like I said, that just really inspired me even more. So here we go. The journey begins. Now, these were our before pictures. It took us 6 months to prepare for competition. And that's me in the middle with the Nike top on. And after 6 months, this was our finished how we looked. We were very disciplined. We dieted. We worked out. We stayed on schedule. We got plenty of rest. We practiced. We had to practice posing and everything. And with that, we worked very hard. And like I said, it took us 6 months from the very first day that we started until the day of the competition. It's coming up. Okay, there we go. And on the day of the show, this is when you compete in bodybuilding, they have two shows. You have the morning, which you do your posing, and then this is us in the gym in between the morning show and the evening show, where during the evening show, you actually do your 90-minute presentation to the audience. And you get judged in the morning, and then you have you can't actually shift the judging from the morning if your presentation in the evening outweighs someone else. So that's me, Paul went over there with the number 6. Next slide. And here is the final result of my first bodybuilding competition. Now, this is my second bodybuilding competition started another 6 months of training. I wanted to be leaner. And I also wanted to try a different category. The first category that I did was the bodybuilding. And then the second category I did was figure. So the difference between the two, in bodybuilding and in figure, you wear more bling. You have your earrings and your bracelets and your jewelry. And we had to wear 4-inch high heels. And I'm a lot leaner. As you can see, I'm strolling down the stage, 90-minute presentation. And next slide. Trophy, that was as I was saying before, fortunately you guys didn't actually see the pictures. I had competed the first bodybuilding show, and this is the second one, figure. And I'm posing, getting ready to walk down and do my 90-minute presentation. So this is figure, and here I go walking on the stage. And I have to say, this is a very, very proud moment for me. Seeing my niece was in the audience, and I heard her say, "Go, Auntie," and my mother and my sons was there. It was such a wonderful, wonderful experience. Gonna go to the next slide? No? There we go. And this is a side pose where you can see all of the definition. And I tell you one thing, we have to smile the whole time. You cannot stop smiling. So some tricks of the trade is they put a little Vaseline on your teeth so that you keep smiling and your lips will quiver and stop quivering. Next slide. And then as I'm walking off, looking back at the audience to get into my final pose. And there you strike a pose, let the judges look you all over. And then you do your curtsy and you bow off and walk off the stage. And then everybody gathers back on the stage for the pose down. So this is the pose down. Each of the ladies come back on, and we just continuously moving and turning and twisting and showing different body parts and smiling at the audience, racking up on those judges' points. And there you have it. And then they announced the winners, and we all got trophies. So with that, after being competing in the bodybuilding competitions, I decided that, you know what, I want to take this further. I didn't want to stop. I wanted to share what I had learned and what I had experienced with other people, with men and women. And so I decided to convert my garage at home to a gym. And I didn't know how I was going to get started. I didn't have any clients, but I remember watching this one movie called Field of Dreams with Kevin Costner. And there was something that he said, build it and they will come. And that's what I did. I built a gym out of my garage. I have everything that you could possibly see. The bench press, battle ropes, risers to do step up and down, resistance bands, dumbbells, you name it, fully stocked gym. And I remember when I first got started, I had a client who, she was actually training to do a triathlon, and she wanted to build her upper body. So I worked with her and I trained her on, using her arms and everything, doing bicep curls, triceps, extensions and different things, so that when she got to her triathlon, she actually performed very well. I also had volunteered at this YMCA on the west side of Chicago called Kelly Hall Y. And I worked out with different people. It was a group training, and it was a free program for the community, for them to come in and to take weight training, yoga, Pilates, and different classes for free. And I remember my mother being my first client, because she wanted to make sure that if no one showed up, that I did have somebody to train at the YMCA. So I have to really applaud my mom for being a very, very big cheerleader of me. And I work out. I still work out, not every day like I used to, but I am up at 6 a.m. at the gym some days, 7 a.m. some days, because that just works better for me, because I have more energy and it just sustains me for the rest of the day. And so I tell anyone, once you get started, it's habit forming. You get just caught up in it. Next slide. So what I want to share with you before we end is, do you know your body type? It's important that before you get started, to kind of understand who you are and your body composition. Me personally, I'm an endomorph. So as an endomorph, I can gain weight easily. I can gain fat easily. I have to watch how I eat. I have a more softer, bulkier look. If you're an ectomorph, that's someone who is very small in stature and frame, very thin. It's hard for them to gain weight. They may even have a fast metabolism. If you're a mesomorph, those are more like your athletic build people. They generally have a hard body. It's easy for them to gain muscles, easy for them to gain fat. And once you determine what your body type is, then you can go from there and come up with the best workout approach. So again, for me, I'm an endomorph. So for me, it's better if I combine both cardio and weight training versus just doing a lot of cardio or just doing all weights. And then I have to watch my intake. If you're ectomorph, it's better if you do short, intense workouts, focus on your big muscles, and increase your calories. And for a mesomorph, who's right in between, cardio and weight training works, both either way, but their body responds best to weight training. Next slide. Also, I would like to talk about dieting. A lot of people try to follow, keto, Atkins, paleo, different diets. So, sometimes people ask, well, is a healthy diet better than dieting? I'll say this: when you're doing, for instance, the keto diet, you are basically restricting your carbs. You're eating about 5 grams of carbs, 60 to 65 grams of fat, and 20 to 25 grams of protein. Now, is that sustainable? For most people, no. So what I would recommend is just focus on eating a really nutritional, balanced meal. Make sure it consists of protein, carbs, and fats. And if you're an ectomorph, they recommend, the standard is recommend protein 25%, carbs 55%, and fats 20%. And there are different apps out there that you can use to help you track track your meals. There's a Lose It, Weight Watchers, Carb Manager, MyFitnessPal. You can download any of those on the app and use those. And then I also recommend downloading a water app. We don't drink enough water. You should be drinking at least 50% of your body weight in water. So if you weigh 200 pounds, then you should be taking in at least 100 ounces of water per day. And it's important that you also get plenty of rest. you know, what people don't realize is when you're working out, you are actually breaking down the um, the muscle fiber in your muscle. So think of it like this: if there's an earthquake and the trembling and the buildings, they fall, and once things settle and you clear away the debris, you see the final product, right? You see the damage that was done. Well, it's the same way with like working out. When you're lifting, you're breaking those muscle fibers. So now you need to get some rest. And when you're resting, that's when you actually begin to rebuild the muscle, and you start forming that, you know, that pec, the muscle here. You have your triceps here, and you have your traps and so forth. So, you know, and also if you're looking to lose weight, one of the things that's important is you have to have a caloric deficit. There's a way to calculate your maintenance weight by taking your weight and multiplying it by 12. And if you say, for instance, you weigh 200 and you multiply that by 12, then that means I need 2,400 calories, right, per day. Now, if I want to develop a caloric deficit, I'll take that 2,400 and back out 500 to 1,000 calories. And then when you're reducing your calories, let's say 500 calories a day, in order to at least lose a pound a week, a pound a week, you need to have a deficit of at least 3,500 calories per week. So by reducing my calories from 2,400 and subtracting 500 each day should allow me to be able to lose a pound a week. Now, some people have asked about intermittent fasting. You know, that works well for people as also. You can, you know, if you want to do intermittent fasting, they have different methods. They have the 16-8, meaning you fast for 16 hours and you eat within an 8-hour window. And then they also have, normally a lot of people probably do naturally fast 12 hours, because if you go to bed at 8 and wake up at 8, you've already fasted for 12 hours. But it's more effective if you do the 16-8 method. Let's see, what else can I share with you guys? Oh, here's some tips about nutrition. I don't know if a lot of people realize that when you eat certain foods, your body uses certain different enzymes to break down those foods. Meaning when you eat fruit, it's best to eat fruit in the morning on an empty stomach, because fruits are cleansing. So when you eat it, it takes your body an hour to digest fruit. And so it just passes through the body after an hour. And then vegetables are healing. But when you mix the two together, because they use different enzymes and it takes different amount of time for the body to break it down, what happens is the fruit and the vegetables begin to rot and ferment in the meal, because instead of it taking an hour to break down the fruit, it's going to now try to your body's going to spend that time trying to break down both of them, and it takes longer for the vegetables to go through the body. So healthy living is a journey. It's not a destination. And that journey requires discipline. And you have to be, for me, consistency is key. Discipline is key. Determined. If you can do anything for 21 straight days, then there's a good chance that you can keep doing it the 22nd day, the 23rd day, and beyond. You need to form healthy habits. You know, determine what's your why. Why do you want to lose weight? Why do you want to be fit? Why do you want to look a certain way? Figure out your why, and then be able to measure it, meaning you want to lose so many pounds in a week, and make sure it's attainable, meaning get a trainer, work with a group, make sure it's relevant, have your why, and then have deadlines. Make sure that you are accountable, have check-ins, monthly check-ins, or 2 weeks or something like that. Let's see, what else can I share with you guys? I mean, I have so much information. And I think we're close to, we should probably just open it up to some questions and answers, if anyone has any questions.
Oh my goodness, Angela, this has been outstanding. And it's been so different from other lunch and learns we've we've had, and I'm just amazed at your knowledge base as it relates to this subject. It appears to me that you've always been athletically inclined. What do you suggest to somebody who's never been athletically inclined, aside from pushing themselves away from the dinner table or putting the fork down kind of thing? How do you get started?
Well, I would say to anyone, depending on what you want to do, let's just say if you want to start working, I mean, I really suggest heavily, if you have no desire, join a gym or really or get with a trainer that has maybe a small gym, because when I started going to, there's a gym that I go to in Forest Park, and I developed a very close relationship with some other women there, and we have a strong bond now. And working out with them, we motivate each other, we push each other, we share tips and meals with each other. And so I would say, if you don't know how to work out on your own, join a gym, join a group, private gym or something like that. Say, for instance, if you want to walk, if you don't want to walk alone, there are a lot of walking clubs. There's a walking club called Black Girl Runs. There's another walking club called Cara. So, research what's in your local neighborhood and reach out to some of those groups and start walking. When I first started running, I met a bunch of women at my first race at the high school. And then I just developed a relationship with them and found out that they were a part of BGR, which is Black Girl Runs. So I started running with them. And I would tell anybody, join a group, join and partner up with someone. Get your best friend. I have a best friend. I pick on her all the time because I'd be like, I don't know if she's on this call, but I say, Lisa, come on, come go with me, come walking, so just partner up with someone.
So I'm looking at it in the chat. There are a few questions here. Deandra wants to know, does your body type change over time? Like the older we get, have children, trauma, any number of things. Does your body type change?
Well, your body type is your body type. I mean, I'm going to always be an endomorph. I may get smaller, but still, it's just part of my genetics and everything, where I can't switch from being an endomorph to an ectomorph. It's just not, it doesn't work that way. I can get small and look like that, but the moment I stop doing whatever it took me to get there, I'll gain it back.
I understand. Next, what are the top 2 to 3 barriers to success, like temptation, procrastination? How do you get by those things as they present themselves on a daily basis?
That's a good question. And I think it's a challenge for all of us, because we're so easily tempted. But one of the things I learned, a lot of it starts here neurologically. And I remember listening to a speaker say, I was trying to cut back on eating sweets. And instead of just saying, don't eat sweets, I look at it, go in the bakery, smell it, walk away. Because as I train, it's almost like, how you train a dog to hear something, do something. And as you repeat that condition, it becomes naturally. So he would always say, you train your brain, reprogram your brain. And if I walk in a bakery and I smell the donuts and then I walk out, if I do that consistently, that's telling myself no when I smell that smell. That's just one thing a person can try. But you just have to really, like I said, figure out what's your why. What's really important to you. Do you want to be around when your kids have children? Do you want to be here for your mother, for your son or daughter's wedding? You really got to find what's important. And for me, I wanted to be able to, I had a child. I had my son, my second child was 8 years younger than my oldest child. I had him at 38 and I wasn't getting any younger, but if I wanted to keep up with him, I had to do something.
Okay. It sounds like you had a number of people who encouraged you along the way, but I think that you kind of encouraged yourself as well. Most people associate eating and drinking with good times.
Mhm.
And so, we quote unquote treat ourselves. So that sounds like that's a problem. And I guess we have to come up with some different ideas about how
Mhm.
we can do something else to treat ourselves. I also heard you talking about having a friend or working with a group or something, because you can kind of hold each other accountable.
Mhm.
But 3 words I took from your presentation, that was consistency, being committed, and determination.
Mhm.
A lot of people do a lot of different things because they don't like the way they look. But if they didn't get that way in a day, and it's going to take a little time
Mhm.
to kind of get rid of it. And the why. Why am I doing this? And
Mhm.
at the end of the day, I guess you're doing it for yourself, not for
Mhm.
anybody else.
Right.
You're doing it for you. So I guess you got to, first of all, be unto thyself, be true.
Mhm.
Is that correct?
That is true. I would say that we have to make a paradigm mind shift, make a decision to change, to achieve, whether you want to achieve anything in your life, just make a decision to change. You have to reassign your excuses. We have to make tangible, actionable goals. One thing I'll say, the spirit leads, the mind agrees, and the body follows.
Oh, I'll have to write that down. That's very good. That's very good. And you didn't say anything about lap bands. You didn't talk about the gastric bypass, all of those kinds of things, because there's a lot of that going on. And
Right.
I have people in my family who have done it, and it even that doesn't last. It doesn't appear. I've got a
Mhm.
cousin that did it maybe about 7 years ago, and she's back to the size she was. I don't know what happened or didn't happen.
Mhm.
I don't even understand it, but I mean, you didn't say anything about that, and I was.
Because I don't necessarily advocate that, because you're right. I mean, again, if you don't make a paradigm mind shift, you're going to do the same thing eventually. Because to me, getting the gastric bypass surgery and things like that, especially if it's for cosmetic purpose, because you're just too lazy and you don't want to work out, and you do it, and you still, like you say, you're social, you still drink, you still eat, you haven't trained yourself how to eat properly, you haven't trained yourself how to work out to maintain that weight. Once you lose it, you gain it back. Now, I will say this, if someone needs it because of serious health reasons, then by all means, you go to your doctor, have a consultation, and you make that determination. But just as a trainer, I don't recommend that just to lose weight because you just want to, get down to a size 10. You need to make those serious health changes and eat better and work out. That's the way I did it, and it worked.
Well, the proof is in the pudding, and you're the pudding, right? So Angela, it's my understanding that you plan to do something here at the clerk's office, and I'd like you to take the next minute, because I see we're right at 1:25 and we close at 1:30. So if you would, now this isn't, I'm not inviting anybody to do anything. Angela, this is you doing
Yes.
this.
Yes.
And I think that everybody who has seen this presentation today, they probably are inspired. I certainly am. So tell me what we're talking about here.
Well, I would like to invite everyone to join me and you too, Madam Clerk, to go on a journey, a fitness journey. We'll come up with a nice name for it. But what I would like for us to do once a week is to start working out, start getting active, getting busy. Spring is coming, and I'm sure some people want to probably start, taking those layers off. And now is the time to do it. Actually, we should have started back in the wintertime so we can really start pulling the layers off now. But starting next week, I would like to challenge everyone to join me and we start walking outdoors. I don't want us to do anything, especially if you've never worked out before, like you said, Madam Clerk, what do we do? Let's all just start off by walking 1-2 miles a day. And trust me, this sounds like it may sound to some hard, but it's not that hard. There's 365 days in a year, 12 months in a year, 30 days in a month, 24 hours in a day. You got to be able to carve, half an hour out of your time. Now, I've also made a commitment. If anybody want to join me with this one, this is a little bit side from the challenge that I'm also talking about, is I'm going to walk a 5K once a month until October. My birthday is in October. And Byron and I actually did the Shamrock Shuffle. And I'm actually going to be doing the Good Life Race in Oak Park this coming Sunday. And I'm going to run it a little bit, but I don't really run anymore because my knee is not in the best of shape. But what I suggest is the first week, we'll start off with just walking outdoors. And everybody needs to log what they do so we can be accountable. And each week I'll roll out something different on the Monday. I've already put on here, there's a video, I'll send you guys videos through YouTube if you're interested, where we can actually, it's a nice video for those who don't want to get out, where you can just walk in place and do different exercises in your home. But each week I want to challenge us to do something different, to make sure that we're moving, we're staying active, and that we begin to live a healthy and prosperous life and make ourselves first. I know we put our jobs first, we put our children first, and we put everything before ourselves. But now is the time, we're at an age where we need to start investing in us and making ourselves be number one.
Okay, Angela, count me in.
So thank you, everyone.
Listen, I want to thank you for your presentation. I certainly am inspired. I'm looking forward to, you said this is an 8-week challenge?
Yes, we'll start next week with Monday.
Okay. All right.
And every Monday, what I would like to do is we'll probably work with communications to set up something where people can sign up, and that way we can get the information out to everyone once a week.
Sounds good.
And then I would also recommend that we folks take a picture of a scale, write down your weight so that we can track your weight in the next 8 weeks and see how we all do.
Oh boy. So Angela, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for this valuable information that you shared. You really are pretty phenomenal woman, and congratulations for being our speaker today and challenging us to be a better us. So with that, Mr. President, I'd like to turn the microphone